Sorry, we're live and now there's sound. And I said hi to, look at, we got Germany and Switzerland. You know why? Because they're Europeans and they're from the future. They're 6 hours ahead. That's why they could be here and say hi to us early on. Hi from West Sussex, Great Britain. Little known fact, my family comes from Sussex. I don't know if it was West though. Just saying. My grandfather was born there in Sussex. New Brunswick, hello from Finland. I have a question for everybody. I'm answering questions today. There wasn't a lot that were left. So if you have questions as we go along, please be sure to ask questions about, I'm going to break my arm here. Look at this. The series, the 6 downloadable books plus the playbook. This may be the first and only time we make this series available for free. So get in, download while you can. So I put this series together. We did this in 2020. We put a series together, gave it away 100% free, and now it's something that you can buy on our website. I want dog owners worldwide. Don't have a barrier of a paywall. I want download. I want them to be able I want dog owners worldwide to have great dog training education. So this is available until, is it Monday morning? I think it's Monday morning at 5 a.m. or something crazy like that. So this is your weekend. Download, watch the videos. Okay, do you see along? I tried something new today. Your question, because I want to see all your comments, where you're from. Oh my gosh, where is that? Gabriello Island. I'd like to see your comments. And so I put it as a ticker along the bottom, the question for you today. How often do you train your dog? And how long do you train when you train? And if you have more than one dog, then you could break that up, to the individual dogs. Okay. Oh, Sally thinks it's 9 a.m. Monday. I think you're right, Sally. I think it might be 9 a.m. But don't quote me on that. I wouldn't take my chance starting the series at 9 a.m. or 5 a.m. on Monday. Hi from Wales, Janet Barnes. Love Wales. I think that might have been one of the last vacations Johnny and I took together was to Wales. Hi, Mary. Hi, Mary. We're going to see you later. Okay, so daily trains. Joan says trains my dog daily for 15 minutes at a time, 5 minutes at a time. Jen says, how often do you train your dog and for how long? 1 to 2 sessions, 5 to 10 minutes each. 10 minutes a day, about 6 days, all positive. Good for you. Good for you. Robin, all of the books are at Staples today. Woo, woo. And the lady and I struggled together to figure out how to work the technology. Well, I'm not your technology girl. That's why we have a technology team. I am your dog training girl. Sherry says usually 4 times a day, about 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's really great. If you can get 4 sessions a day, and even with my puppy, I struggle to do that. When he was younger, absolutely. Right now, formal sessions, I can probably get 2 to 3, and then some other little ones. So yeah, maybe I'm up to 4 to 5, but they're not all that long. All day in some shape or form. That's true, Denise. The truth is, Denise nailed it here. We all train our dogs every moment that the dogs are awake. We are training either by allowing the environment to train our dogs or for us to formally train. What I was getting at is I was curious about how you guys go about training. And based on your answers, I can see it would be really easy for you guys to integrate the games from the Connected Dog into these sessions. So I think that's brilliant. A few times a week, but not every day. These can be 2 to 15 minutes, depending on how many games we stack. Perfect. There's no right or wrong answer. I was just like, if you had said, I train once a week in class for 1 hour, and then once the day before I crammed because I know I have class the next day, then I knew we're going to have to work on your habits because it's going to be difficult to integrate these things into your daily routine. Okay. See, that's perfect, Patricia, for a puppy. 3 to 4 times, 15 minutes. 15 minutes might be longish, and who am I to say? Because you might have great focus and attention and smoothness working, and depending on what you're working on, you could go for 15 minutes easy. Yeah, so this is 30 minutes training while walking. So 30 minutes 30 minutes and train while walking for 15. Yeah. So while you're out walking your dog, that's brilliant. I make that a part of my daily training as well. Okay. So brilliant answers. Let's start with, I'm giving away my favorite tug toy again. That was such a popular thing yesterday. So I'm going to give away a Recallers tug toy. This is my favorite because I can hide it in my hand. The dog doesn't necessarily know it's there. All you have to do is share this live somewhere in social media so that we are exposing more and more dog owners to this type of training. Remember, I said this is possibly the last time that we are going to have this connected dog available at no charge. So this is a great opportunity to get it done. This is a great question. How old do you start leash training? And the answer is depends. It depends on how my early, what I call the critical core of training, how well that goes. The leash is something that we condition, much like we did the collar grab, and that's why I start with a collar grab game. But I don't really, I don't use a leash in training until I've conditioned it as a really fun, positive thing for my dog. So it really depends on the dog. You know what? I bet they would do that. I bet we could do that. We'll have to talk to them, get a discount code for my Merles. So all you have to do is share this live. Come on back, right shared, and let us know where you shared it so that we can check out and pick a random winner before the end today. All right. And speaking of winners, what did I give away yesterday for our gem? Was it a harness? Maybe Lisa can tell me in the Slacks over here. But we did have I get to make the final. Sometimes the team picks the gem because they're like, no, it's got to be this one because they just fall in love with the comment. Sometimes they give me 3 and I just decide whose gem wins. Today it was me. I picked the gem. So the gem today, and the winner of the gem is Karina Othman, who wins a Propel. This was Karina's gem from our last live. My gem is the many nuances of each game presented in the Connected Dog series. Each piece, each layer. If I could write layer in capital and bold it, keep that word, write it in the comments. Everybody write the word layer. No, just make it plural. Each layer plays a role in the clarity and understanding for our dogs. My mechanics and small movements of my hands or body, the placement of reinforcement, or even the distractions I can add in training. I love the clarity the series has brought me. Thank you, Susan and team, for giving us confidence in our dog training journey. Karina, I read that and I'm like, nailed it, girl. Nailed it. Because there's so many pieces that come together for a dog to be in a place where they can joyfully be a partnership with us. Unfortunately, what happens is there's expectations pet owners have of their dogs. And when the expectations aren't met, the hands go on the hip and the finger comes out. What did you do? And really, it isn't what did you do? Because if the dog could talk, they would put their hands on their hips and they would say 2 words to you. Maybe 3. I don't know. I did my best. That's what they would say. My best. You want to know what I did? My best. With the education you gave me and the environment you put me in. So the expectations of the typical average pet owner, which none of you are anymore, even if you started there to begin with, which some of your questions I can tell many of you are very experienced at owning dogs. Dogs are always doing their best. And so we picked nuances as a series because there's so many pieces. You go to your typical, when I went to my pet dog training, it is sit, down, stand, stay, come. That's what dogs need. And there's this ridiculous expectation after we give them a few cookies for that, well, they are the dogs trained. It's a partnership. It's layers. It's, I think I said this on the live the other day, is dogs crave one thing from people, and that is clarity. Give them clarity. And the way we give them clarity is, number one, through having brilliant mechanics. Number two, understanding what reinforces the dog at any one moment. What reinforces the dog in your living room may not be what reinforces the dog in your backyard, where there's other competing reinforcement. So, the layers are just so important. How I train my dog. And that really is the foundation of our Recallers program, which opens registration on Monday. The layers of how I train my dog starts with what I call the critical core, the lifeline that everything grows from. And you've already learned some of the games. In the critical core is it's your choice, is location-specific reinforcement markers, is things like crate games and the dog's name recognition, how we create such clarity so that when we say the dog's name, boom, the dog head whips. So I have a few games that I have, like this pyramid when I'm training a puppy, and my bottom is what I call my critical core, that I work those. I think I've mentioned this in one of our lives, that a friend of mine who is he was a world champion of karate twice, actually. And he said one of his mentors would always say, mastery is mastering the fundamentals. So critical core is mastered with my dogs. That is one layer. Then we go to the next layer, which is building value for all the things in my world that I think are going to be important. So one of you had the question about a leash. Leash will be important. So in my second layer, I'm building value for those things. And I can tell you more about the layers if that's something that interests you, but I want to get to your comments right now. And I've got to take off that so I can see your comments. Okay. So we do slices throughout the day. Oh yeah, talking about training. You know what, Judy? I think you're onto something. Write that one down, LOH. Dogs crave clarity should be a t-shirt, said Judy. Number one thing all they want from us is clarity. And I think another t-shirt should be believe the dog. So what was I doing? I think I mentioned this in the last live. I was doing a demo for our platinum level connected dog folk. And it was with my girl, Vissy, who's 3 years old. And I challenged her, and that's what I said I was going to do. I'm going to challenge her understanding. And she failed twice. And I used that as a great example. I said, I believe my dog when she says you haven't trained this to the level of clarity that you think you have in this type of an environment. So I made one little tweak. I think I moved something like 18 inches. Bingo. She's like, why don't you say that? Boom. I got that all day long. I do that all day long for you, girlfriend. So dogs crave clarity, and they tell us when things are unclear. You might say, what am I? You've been hand targeting for 2 weeks. What do you mean you can't do it right now when there's kids on bicycles going by? If you ask twice and they still can't do it, believe them. Believe them. Okay? Yeah, I think that should be a t-shirt as well. Oh, great. Okay, so I don't have to look at the comments. You are grabbing questions. Okay, perfect. I'm going to start with some of the questions that we had left on our last live. Let's have Catherine Harvey in the house. I'm going to give a heart to Catherine Harvey. Haven't seen her forever. Okay. The first question, can a dog be relaxed and still drool? And it's your choice, from one potato juice lover to another. I believe the answer is 100% yes. Vissy, my border collie, is the biggest drooler I've ever had, asterisks, with the exception of the bulldog. So any of you who own a dog like a bulldog, and I know bulldogs are not the sole ownership of the potato juice, that there is a lot of breeds of dogs that just think about food and just start drooling. So absolutely. I think um, relaxed, there's a fine line between relaxed and engaged. And right on that line is where I want my dogs to live when doing It's Your Choice. Because relaxed, like this guy is right now, that's not a great demo for It's Your Choice, right? But I love that my dogs, and one of the things I want you to note, that you have seen every single dog that I live with, and every single dog that I own. I've shared my experiences live with you with every single dog that I own. There's not many dog trainers that will do that. Turn a camera on live and say, these are my dogs. This is how we live. They might have one or two polished stones to show you, but I know nothing can happen on live stream that I can't use as a training example for you to learn and grow from. And I think that's important when you're putting these trainers on pedestals. Somebody wrote some comments on our Facebook page, which were not really kind last night. And it's always, to me, a mystery when, if you write on another reinforcement-based dog trainer's Facebook page some scathing comments, and you write that you are a behaviorist and that you're a reinforcement-based dog trainer, why are you not living a reinforcement-based lifestyle? Why are you coming to another reinforcement-based dog trainer to shout out your credentials and put down what that person is doing? Because, like, if you look at the scale of dog training, at one end, we have trainers that use a great deal of force, what I would call abuse, hanging dogs, choking them off. And then at the other end, we have, like, pure as the driven the snow, reinforcement-based dog training. But is it effective? Like that, let's assume that it's the most effective and it's the most pure. So I know where I am on this scale, and I live that way. I work every day to be a reinforcement-based human being, to show up for my students, people that I don't even know showing up on live stream. I want to be my best for you, even if you're critical of what I'm doing, because I know your criticism comes from a place of pain. But if you're a reinforcement-based dog training, it should run down your brain through your heart, into your hands, and out your mouth. So whatever you type behind a keyboard, whatever you say, demonstrates that you are a reinforcement-based human being. And then I know your dogs are going to live the best life possible. And it's a journey. I'm not a saint. I get frustrated when I get busy and my dogs go, are we going to play? Are we going to play? And I'm like, ah. But it's a goal that I live. And so I'm just going on a little tangent here, because I think it's important that if you want to become great at being a reinforcement-based dog trainer, then you need to demonstrate it to other human beings. And if you're a reinforcement-based dog trainer and you see another reinforcement-based dog trainer and you think what they're doing is quote unquote wrong, writing on their page in public isn't the answer. That isn't demonstrating in the best way who you are. Going in behind and saying, hey, I noticed you did this. Would you like to chat about it? Because I'd really like to give you my feedback on what I'm seeing, or something like that. Anyway, so it's not just about being a good human. It's about being a great reinforcement-based trainer. You practice it by living it every day. And that's what I love about my community. If you'll see that if there is a comment on my page, somebody wrote there was a video on It's Your Choice, why we don't use the words leave it. And somebody said, you should just say no. And this gentleman clearly comes from another filter. He doesn't see life through the same filter that many of us in our community. So immediately our students jumped on there and said, hey, in kindness, boom, boom, boom. And he insulted them and went on his happy way. But you won't find our community, being mean back to somebody who's mean. That's just not, we reflect the core values we want to show up to our dogs with. So I think it's It's just a great place to be. We're not always perfect. We don't expect perfection from anybody else. But I was saying to Linda this morning, I said, it's like, do you think like that Catholics say like the Pope is the most Catholic and everybody else is a failure? Like if there is somebody that's the most positive reinforcement, does that mean we need to insult other people that aren't where they think they should be? Just know what we are doing here is in the trenches dog training. It isn't working in a theoretical laboratory. It is working with real life problems, with real life dogs, and getting them results without the use of physical corrections or verbal intimidation. And it is super successful. And it's demonstrated in all my dogs. The same person wrote, my dogs lack personality or character, and clearly I've made them little robots. So I was like, that is the furthest thing from the truth that could be possible. Okay, I'm off of that. I'm on to the next question. When using Cook mark, the location-specific reinforcement marker, Cook, this is from Mary. You say Cook, wait for the designated gap length, and then deliver the treat. So I'm just going to, before I go on with this question, I'm going to say, remember, the gap may be a millisecond. There isn't a designated gap length. There is a gap dictated by the age, stage, and behavior of the dog. So it might be like that. With my dogs, it could be like it's a game, right? So I just want to make that clear. So the question goes on, at what point can the dog move from their position? So if I say Cook, when can the dog move from their position? In clicker training, the click marks the end of the exercises and the dog can move and even before getting the treat. How does this work with Cook? I aim to train long stays in various positions and think Cook can help by gradually increasing the gap. Am I on the right track? Mary, you are on the right track with one small little change I want to make to the path that you're on right now. The question is, at what point can the dog move from their position? And what that implies is when we're saying Cook, the dog is right or wrong. And it isn't about right or wrong. That when I build that behavior gap, it's about what the dog has voluntarily taken up, right? So that evaluation gap is there for our dogs to show you how brilliant they are. Yeah, you said Cook. I know, I got it. I'm waiting. And so when I say Cook to any of my dogs, they would never leave. They would know Cook means stay where you're to till they come where you're at, to quote my grandfather, who was from Newfoundland, and that's how he spoke. Stay where you're to till they come where you're at. Cook means you don't have to move. I am making the delivery. I got the delivery for you, right? And so what I love, Mary, is your way of thinking about this could help me grow my stays. I could be across the room and say Cook. Are we going to go from it's your choice to moving 30 feet across the room? No, we're going to ping pong that distance. We're going to grow it up. There's layers. So remember, after critical core, I have something, a layer that I call build the value, where I'm building the value of things with me, close with me, far away, building the value of things that are noises, that are physical sounds. Like there's all different things that are in that build the value layer. But you are absolutely on the way. But don't think of it as judging the dog's behavior as right or wrong, and that because if they're wrong, that implies a judgment on them. And all it is that gap is what our dog says, I got this. Yeah, that's easy. Is that say, what else you got for me? And yeah, Mary or Lori, this is great. This is a really good thing to make. It's a mind shift to set things up so the dog is always right. And I will try and get my dog to fail. Oh, and in the process of getting my dog to fail, they most of the time go, like, that was easy. Was that supposed to be difficult for me? And then they get, bigger and better reinforcement. It's why I have this smile on my face when I'm training my dog, because it's awesome. Okay. Mary, that was a deep question, and I thank you for that. But just a little mind shift. At what point can the dog move? It's more, the question should be, how do we know how big a gap to put in there? And that comes from our dog's temp. And we're going to build that up slowly until, yes, you can be out of sight stay from the closet, yell cook, and the dog knows, oh, delivery's on the way, DoorDash will be here any minute, I'm getting it, yeah, thank you very much. All right, from Farah, I'm curious to know how your other dogs aren't released by the same words well in Hop It Up, which we call the hot zone, and they know you aren't talking to them. Because in my building value stage for my puppies or rescue dogs, if I have an older dog, is I want them to have amazing value for what we used to call a long time ago in obedience, honoring. That's an important thing for me. Honoring is, I need you to be relaxed and patient while you are in the hot zone waiting your turn. And a little nuance, I'm going to throw this out there. This isn't part of Connected Dog. I'm just going to give you another big gem. A nuance of that is, I don't want to say never, because never is really ridiculous when we talk about dogs. Rarely do I release my dogs from those hot zones without touching them. Rarely. I will pick up a toy when I'm going to play with them. I will either touch them or look them right in the eye. I will engage with them, and then I will release them. So that, I believe, is a big nuance why you watched my dogs, and what you watched was a few hours of dog training, but what that actually was probably, we've videoed over the course of a month. So it was probably 8 days of videoing what you saw, and maybe 10 days of videoing. And in the 10 days of videoing, we had one dog that left the hot zone without a release, and that was Swagger. I think his iguana fell. So it's just built into that. I got my critical core as my first value. Then I have my build the value as my second layer. That's where I'm building in the puppy's understanding through crate games of what your release word is. What does the release process look like? Okay, a little bit off track, but I think super, super important for all of you. Question. I'm trying to figure out how to do this if your dog has not been trained to sit at your side like the dogs in these two demonstrations. My dog moves in front of me, then she is between me and the bowl. I see the use of the target hand, but I have not seen how to go from the target hand. So it goes back to building value for being in reinforcement zone. It doesn't mean you can't play these games. It just means that you need to recognize that if your dog is moving, then they don't understand. Cook is the only thing that, once you get cook, ideally they would get a release word. But even if I was doing this, remember when I was doing it with the little puppy, Tilly, Tally, Dilly, Dally? Tilly didn't move just because of my great timing and use of my reinforcement. She only moved when I said, we had a 3-hour bike ride today, so a little crazy. When I said search, because that's the only release word that puppy knew with me. Okay, so I know it seems difficult, but if you go back to any of those training sessions where I wasn't training my own dog, because my dogs are trained and they get trained very quickly. But when I'm training somebody else's dog, especially either a rescue dog with no training or a puppy, I can get behavior really, really quick because of the timing of the reinforcement and how I quickly put on the words cook and search. I put those words in place. Once I have those words, it's magic. I can do just about anything. Okay. So don't get bent out of shape about your dog staying somewhere. We have to build value. That layer number 2, we're building value for those places. It's actually what I call it's actually layer number 4, to be truthful. It's transferring value. So I've built value for like a tug toy. I've built value for a crate. I've built value for a hot zone. I transfer that value to things like be at my side. Okay. I know, is this LOH? What is this something that you just gave me, or is that was what I found on my desk? Okay, this is from Robin. I know cook is a marker word to remain in that position. Cookie will be delivered, but am tempted to use a release word after that, other than search. Is it okay for them to move out of position once they receive the cookie? Please advise. Robin, they move with a release word because we want our dogs to have clear understanding. Our dogs crave clarity from us. So we either will say search and throw a cookie like I did with Tilly because she didn't have layer number 1, layer number 2, number 3. But with my other dogs, when I want them to release out of position, I would give their word break. Or if I'm sending them to get a toy, it would be bring me. That's their release word from that position. So there isn't, after I give you a cook, if I have a young puppy, I will either do another cook, or hand target is a cue that allows the dog to come out of position. If I'm doing this with a puppy, I don't want them to just wander off. But guess what? If we aren't timely with what our plan is, they are going to wander off. So I don't want those puppies to learn, I eat a cookie, then I do what I want. So I make sure I get in either tug on a toy, search a cookie, touch my hand. Those are the 3 things that that puppy will understand. Okay. Lori, my question is, how well will this program work if I am the only one in our household using positive reinforcement training and different cues? Will the dogs get confused? I actually did a podcast about this because it is a super common question. And the answer is your dog will be brilliant for you, but they will probably learn to ignore the other person or be afraid of the other person, depending on how the other person is training. And what I want for you is I would love for you to carry on with this training and really get good at it so that the other people in your household get curious. What I don't want, and it's just so tempting, is to get naggy and say, what I would say, because my late husband loved the dogs and he just didn't care about all of these words. And he was an obedience judge as well, a great obedience judge. But I would say to him, I don't really care what you do with the dogs, but it's super important for their safety that they understand that they can never move out of a position at a front door without the release word break. That's my only thing I wanted. And he learned to start doing more and more because I didn't pick at it. I just shared with him how important it wasn't just for me, but it potentially could save these dogs' lives. So that's all I asked. I picked one thing. And if you have like a pet sitter that comes in the day, that's the one thing I would pick. And I tell my students, just put a sign in the crate to remind your pet sitter. These are the things that are really important. And I really appreciate it. Christmas bonus might get a little thicker if you follow this up and help me support the training I'm doing with this puppy. Reinforcement builds behavior in everybody. Okay. My dog attends a very well-managed daycare once or twice a week where she's expected to follow traditional commands like sit down, stay, or sit, stay down. The staff is kind, but expects the dogs to respond to human commands, and I want my dog to continue listening to them. I love the wisdom and appeal of choice-based training, and my dog enjoys it too. Is it possible for her to understand and respond to both It's Your Choice and traditional commands simultaneously? I'm sure dogs are brilliant and they can figure things out. I would try to find a common ground and ask them to respect that. That's what I would do. Like your dog very, very quickly can learn sit and down through these games. Not a problem. Stay is redundant. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but the word stay really is redundant. If you ask your dog to sit or down, how long do you expect them to do it if you don't say stay? Just think about that. Like just touch their bum down and get up? So why do you need to say stay? Sit is an implied stay. Sit is wait there for further information. That's what sit really means. So stay is just redundant. And you know what? If they can knock themselves out and say it, doesn't mean you have to bring it home. All right. Right. So when I say set, as Jeffrey says, it's until I release you or ask you to do something else. Yeah. It's anything else is redundant. It's unnecessary. All right. This is great. Marge said, after 4 months of following this methodology, my other half is now picking up hints to get the dog to behave as well for him as it does for me. That's lovely. And I think, a dog is an amazing creature in a family, but I don't ever want it to be a point of conflict in a family. So you have to continue to be consistent the way you train the dog, and be okay that it's not going to be done all the way perfectly. I will share with you this. When I lived alone, my dogs were far better trained than when I lived with my late husband. Because the lines got a little blurred with him, and that was okay, because if I had to pick perfect unblurred lines or no John, like I would take John in the blurred lines, right? So don't let that be a point of contention, because I believe what you're learning in the reinforcement-based dog training program is how to be a better, more reinforcing-based person. And that's just going to be huge for everybody in your household. How do you share reinforcement methodology benefits with somebody who uses aversives? So Catherine, I don't know of, there's very, very, very few dog trainers who use aversives who don't also use reinforcement. So it's easy for me to have conversations about reinforcement with people who use aversives. It's just difficult to have conversations with people who dog train using aversives when things don't go the way they want them to. That's the challenge. So, and the thing is that most people believe what you guys learned this week is exactly the way everybody does it. It isn't. It is not. That is the big difference. I don't want to use physical punishment, aversives, intimidation, verbal corrections with my dogs. Therefore, I've got to get better at all of them than at the use of my reinforcement. And you guys now, having gone through the connected dog, you have the insight of the nuances of how to be brilliant, more brilliant at reinforcement than, I don't know, a huge percentage of professional dog trainers out there. Do you cover how to train dogs not to bark and jump on guests? So recallers, yes, we do. So our lesson, so as I mentioned, I have the critical core, and then we have build the value, then we have find the value, then we have a transfer value, then we have test. So all of these layers in there, the find the value would be what happens when you're faced with a distraction. What do you want to do? So do you want to jump on a guest when they come to the house? What can we do to change that response to something that I'd love for you to do? And so we help the dog to find value some other place other than jumping on the guest or chasing a squirrel or chasing the kids or whatever it might be. So yes. And then in recallers, we actually have an entire course called Barkensteins where we help you work through dogs barking. Okay. I mix up different treats. My dogs spit out the low value. That's freaking awesome. So maybe you can't do low value right now. You can do moderate value and high value. Another little tidbit I can give you is if your high value is smelly, it will make the low value more attractive. So your low, moderate, and high value rewards can't all be dry. So a little bit of moisture helps to create. So I'll have, as you saw in the video, I have low value, high value in different bowls. But if I'm training my dog, I will have a percentage mix. So at home, it's mostly low and, or I mean, low is almost, when I say low, meaning they don't really like it, I'm not going to use that in my training. I don't know what's slightly above low, moderate reinforcement, and maybe 10% of that is high, if that. Because I'm training at home, the distraction level is really low. Why am I going to give away really high value reinforcement? But there is some, might not even be as high as 10%. So that it all takes on a little bit of that value, and it helps to, what I said earlier, transfer the value from the high to the moderate, and then you can transfer value. Once moderate soon becomes almost as high as high. Well, that pulls along the low as well, so you can start using moderate, high, and low in your training. There really is nothing. Transferring the value, I think the best demo I can do for that, I'll show you right now with tater salad. First, I got to clear the floor. So tater salad, I might have a video of tater salad when he came here, and some of you may have actually seen this video before. So when tater salad came here, the video isn't great, but you couldn't, in this video, I'm trying to tap his toes, and he's freaking out. I have a spoon, and he is having a meltdown when I bring the spoon near his toes. So just watch this clip.
It's strong too.
So you could see, I was just trying to touch his nail trimming, which is so important. It is, you could just take him down. With nail trimming, which is so important to dogs, we couldn't get near him. So he was 15 months old. He had a head like a bowling ball that he treated like a battering ram. And so for the longest time, we couldn't cut his nails. And he wasn't the kind of dog you could take to a vet and sedate, because he was severely brachycephalic. We ended up doing surgery on him because he actually would pass out because it was such a hot mess. So you have a dog like that. How do you, when people say, I can't imagine getting a transfer of value, my dog not chasing deer, because he doesn't care enough about cookies when deer are around. We don't go from cookies to deer. We do layer upon layer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the camera around, and I will, I see I've got the gate closed, so I'm going to, hold on. I'm going to change the audio so you can hear. My mic will be that camera. That camera. All right, so first thing I got to do is get rid of these other dogs. And Swag, can you hop it? Grab your iguana and hop it up here. And Pet, you hop it up here. Thank you. So I'm going to, all that I'll do is I'll just turn the Dremel on. Can you see the,
Hang on.
Okay. Buddy. Okay, it's not your turn. Everybody wants their nails done. Can you hop it up, please? So come over here. Your nails need to be done too, buddy. I gotta go. There you go. So the transfer of value from a dog who hated having his nails done. If I tried to do somebody else's nails, watch. If I locked him out, he would be crying because he wants his nails done. Let's just try it. Come here, Chi. You just stay here. Come here, Chi. You want to go right here? Tater. No, because his nails having time. I want my nails done. Come on, Chi. No, he can just stay outside the gate. Fetty, come here. I'm going to do your nails. Here, Chi. Just right there. So I'm going to cut his nails, and I'd be willing to bet that he kicks some of us. Oh. Good boy, Cook. Okay, Tater gave up easier than I thought. Good boy. But you can see the transfer of value has happened. My dogs love getting their nails cut. What dogs? That's a dog who went from, oh my God, I'm going to kill you if you touch my feet, to it's my turn. Is it going to be my turn? I want my turn. And as soon as I started to cut Tater's nails, the puppy said, but when it's nail cutting time, I want my nails done. Right? It's just, if you do things in layers, you can create a positive conditioned emotional response for anything with our dogs, for anything, right? I hope that makes sense, because that's really what we're doing. We're giving our dogs autonomy. You decide if you want your nails done. And if I've done my job well, you're going to love getting your nails done. If I haven't done my job well, I got to go back to the drawing board and work harder on it. What would you like me to say about that? So LOH wanted me to talk about the comment that was made where my dogs looked robotic and lacked character. And I mean, you guys are seeing glimpses of my dogs in these training sessions. I think you can tell that they have a lot of personality, and I fan the flames of those personalities, that they are allowed to be who they are. Swagger, you'll never see him anywhere without a toy, because that's who he is. He loves to carry his toys. And I what I want, the goals I have for my dogs, never come at the expense of who my dogs are. So, some of you may know my story with my young dog, Dissy, who I honestly didn't know if I would ever get into the agility ring with her. And that wasn't important. Allowing her to have agency over what we do, allowing her to dictate the pace of our training is what I did. And that's why she'll be 4 in a couple of months. And this is really last year was the first time she was ever in the agility ring as a dog who was almost 3. So that's super important that my dogs are well behaved. And I think potentially, if you are a reinforcement-based dog trainer who has high drive dogs who aren't well behaved, you might feel threatened and say, well, those are robotic dogs. I don't want that. I want that. And so I work really, really hard at it. Okay. So I think that's important, that we train the dog in front of us. Swagger is not Profit, is not Tater, is not this, is not Momentum. They're all trained slightly different, but they all have the same games. Just my approach to the training is slightly different. Okay. So, and that's like, I wouldn't be able to help all the different breeds of dogs we have in our programs. There's somebody, I'm going to share it on my Instagram page. Somebody shared onto, I saw on my Instagram messages, somebody shared something about their Malinois. Like, I'd like to see this lady train a high drive dog like a Malinois, good luck lady. As if none of our students have high drive Malinois, high drive rescue Malinois, dogs that have already been messed up by somebody else's twisted, perverse version of the way their dog should behave. So it works. And I know that people who say it doesn't work, or that it's wrong, or their dogs are robotic, are just in pain because they can't figure out how to get what I've got. And they can get it. They just have to really study the application, the use of, the values of reinforcement. That's what we're doing. We're training with reinforcement, right? Okay. John said, I need clarification on what was just said about hot zone releasing off. Does this mean I don't use brake? I always use brake or a cue. My dogs are, if I put my dog in the hot zone, they need a cue to get off the hot zone. You saw Prophet, I asked him to hop it up on the couch, which AKA is the hot zone. He got off on his own because the distraction of the Dremel was too much. Swagger didn't get off. Swagger likes to get his nails done, but he understands, wait my turn. 13-and-a-half-year-old dog versus a 11-month-old dog. So it's different. And so, but yes, I would release my dog from the hot zone. I said, one of the things, I think what I was trying to differentiate, John, and I don't think I made it clear enough. What I see a lot of trainers do is they put their dogs in the hot zone and then they go like 20 feet down the path, and then they look at the dog, ready, steady, break, and they release from a long distance away. And so potentially that will contribute to the dog not wanting to stay in the hot zone or not understanding when the dogs can leave the hot zone. So I think the reinforcement process, AKA the release process for my dog, is I'll give them a tug toy. I might, if for example, if Prophet is in the hot zone and I'm training another dog, I will come back and give him a reinforcement before I release him off, because I want to let him know that was brilliant that you said there. That was brilliant. Okay. What I think you guys should do, I'm going to type this in here. I'm going to type in, actually, I'm going to get somebody on the team because I don't want to get this wrong. I would like you guys to go and look up our recallers stories. So we have, I think it's connecteddog.com/stories, but I'm not sure. I'm sure Lisa will help me with that. I would love for you to go and look at those recolor stories. There are 15 videos that our own students put together. We didn't have a professional crew do it. 15, we do have some others that were interviews with those students, but these were videos our students put together on their own. And I'd want you to see how they talk about their experience training a dog with the different layers: critical core, building value, finding value, transferring value, testing value, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I think it's different to listen to somebody who created the program, who innately just lives it every single day, compared to somebody who's in your position, who maybe has a rescue dog or maybe has a 5-year-old dog that you struggled with all 5 years of their life, that you don't quite understand how it could be possible. I'm still looking because I know I have that link somewhere. And I don't see anybody on my team put it in there yet. So I think you will be able to relate better to those people. Yeah, it's doggyflix.com/recallers-stories. I think just stories will get there too. Try this. doggyflix.com/stories. Somebody tell me if that works. Mine's shorter. I don't know if that will work, but there you go. So I think that will help you see people coming from the same situation that those of you who are watching this going, I can't see my dog ever liking getting his nails done. 15 months old when he came to live with us, and some of you may have heard the background of Tater Salad. He was thrown out of thrown out of 2 daycares. He destroyed 3 living room couches, like just pulled all the stuffing out of every single living room couch, destroyed all the garden furniture. Anything he could get a hold of, he would play keep away. He could not be walked on leash because he was too strong. And he had so poor social skills. So he would run up to dogs and just want to greet them. And he was just a big dog. So all of these problems, couldn't touch his nails, couldn't walk him on leash. If he ever got away, that was it. Like there was no way that he was coming back. So what were the redeeming features of him? I guess he was cute. And if you tried to get him to do, like, say he was running out the door and you grabbed his collar because he was going to run out the door, he would immediately turn and grab your wrist and start gator rolling to try and break your hand away from his collar so he could do what he wanted. He had all the tricks, all the tricks. That potato had all the tricks down. His name was Samson, and although he didn't have long hair, he had extraordinary strength. All right. So all of that in the 15 months of rehearsing this stuff. And people will say, oh, you've got border collies. It doesn't matter. And no, I'm not going to get a Malinois to prove anything to people. Likewise, I'm not going to get a hunting breed because everybody moves the goalposts on reinforcement-based dog training. Okay, food's good for cooking. Oh yeah, I get it. It's okay for treats or tricks, but it's never going to work for real life. Oh, so it's working for real life. Oh, but those are border collies. Well, let me remind you, I started with Jack Russell Terriers, and I had them for many, many years. So, those are high drive dogs. We've got students name a breed. Natalia with her rescue Malinois, and we've got beagles, and we've got I just saw her name in the comments. Rachel Schumacher with a purpose-bred high drive European Malinois. So it works. Come on, boxers, name a breed, and we have success. High drive Brittany's, miniature Bernese. Is there such a thing? How cool would that be? German Shepherds. The one with what? Good beagles? We have lots of beagles. Lots of beagles. So Manu with his basset hound, 10-month-old puppy working on finding truffles. So cool. No, I don't mean chocolate ones. Wouldn't that be great? Yes. Whippets. It's so. So what happens is they say, yeah, but you can't get a border collie to stop when they're chasing something. Oh, I did. Well, then the goalposts get moved. That's not a touchdown, Susan. I'm moving the goalposts. You can't get 2 border collies to do that. Okay, I could do that. Okay, you can't get a bulldog to. Okay, I got a bulldog. The goalposts keep moving because if they didn't move the goalposts, they'd have to admit this works. And then they'd have to say, why am I still using aversives and force with my dogs if that works? And I don't know. That's a journey you have to figure out because I figured mine out way in the 90s. Okay, Dalmatians, LaDonna and her Dalmatians. Rescue cattle dog who was neglected. It just goes on. Oh, Mary and her guardian breeds. Right? So it goes on, and look at all of the our students in the chat saying they're different breeds of dogs that have great success. Huskies, right? So we've had a number of dogs with Huskies. Right. Fieldbred, competing in fieldbred competitions using our methods. Okay. So I'm going to give away my favorite tug toy. My favorite tug toy is going to go to Bonnie Bartlett. Congratulations. And what I would love for you guys to do is 2 things. Well, 3 things, really. I'm going to share with you that recallers registration will open on Monday morning. And I know that when you go and look at the registration page, your brain is going to give you all the reasons why you shouldn't do this. But I also know there is 0 reason why you shouldn't do it because I want the right people in the seats of recallers. And if you're not the right people, I'm giving you your money back. So we have a guarantee. You'll learn all about it on Monday. Just be prepared to have your life change, to have your dog's life change, and to have every dog you've ever owned after have their life change. But you've got to go. Remember, I talked on the last live about filling that belief cup. do you believe in this methodology? Look at how many people in the chats have named breeds that this has worked for. People that were in dire straits, people who said, my dog was going to get euthanized and you were my last hope. I can't tell you how many of those letters, and every time I read one, I cry. How many of those letters we get? People who have tried other reinforcement-based programs, who have tried other game-based programs, who have tried force, that have success with our programs. And it's not just overcoming a challenge, it's having an amazing life with the dog that you love. So be prepared. Monday morning, but we're only opening registrations for 4 days. We're closing though on Thursday night. So giving you the heads up on that. So the second thing I'd love you to do is go to our stories and just look through those 15 videos. Now, if you went to Google and you Googled Susan Garrett recallers, I'd be willing to bet you'd get 10, 20, 30 pages of people's stories, because we've had literally tens of thousands of people have success with the program. I'm just giving you this year's finalists in our competition. So please go and look at those stories and see if you can see yourself in any one of those stories. And finally, if anything I said today, other than the t-shirts that we need made, if anything resonated with you, I would love for you to go to our Facebook page and share that gem on the Facebook page or on video 6 in our learning lounge on the Connected Dog. Share your big takeaway from this live or from our entire series that we've shared with you. What was your big takeaway? So share that on the gem post. It'll be called gem post. And I'm going to jump off now, but Monday we go live. I'm going to come back Monday afternoon, do another live. So if you have any questions when you see the registration and you open it up, and I know there's going to be people who live in Canada, in Australia, in South Africa, that guess what? Our dollar isn't doing so well. So you're going to look at it and say, it's in United States dollars. Oh my gosh, I can't join this. If your dog had gotten into the garbage and eaten something and it was going to cost you $2,000 to save that dog's life, there would be no question. This is preventing those things. So it doesn't matter if the wind isn't blowing right, if the currency isn't exactly where it needs to be. It matters that this program is going to be worth 10 times worth what the investment will be to you. I promise you. And you get the first month for free or the first 14 days for free. I give you the critical core. Remember that first layer? You can come and join it, test it out. And if you decide it's not for you, you can ask for a refund. And if you decide that we're not your people, then I think we're all better off if you're not in our program. So we happily give you a full refund because I'm that protective of keeping like-minded people in the program. And here's how Recallers works, because I know somebody's going to ask this. You join for the first year, and then you love the community and you keep coming back. We have people who have been in Recallers since the day it started in 2010. We have hundreds of people that were there from the beginning that stay. So how do they stay? We offer a ridiculous alumni offering that we just like having positive people around in my life. And so once you pay for Recallers once, you can keep coming back at a very, very low investment for you. So, and keep getting all the bonuses that we put in every year. Right? It's crazy. Okay, that's all I'm going to say because I got to do my platinum call. It's coming up in 30 minutes. And if you're not in platinum, go to the Learning Zone. This is the last day that you can join platinum. So, and you can watch all the recordings. I'm jumping off. We'll see you Monday. Please share your gems. I love reading those gems. We'll see you.